In the 90s, we had Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg. In the early 2000s, we had Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio. And now in the 2015s, 2020s, we have Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Let's talk about Sinners. So last night we saw Sinners, right? We saw a movie that was written and directed by none other than Ryan Coogler. So, Mr. Pancakes, what do we think about this? How do we want to approach this review?
I think it's a review that we're looking forward to doing. That at the time we're doing this, we're actually doing this the next day.
Right.
Surprisingly, something we don't do often. What a fun film! I mean, it was a little all over the place, but done in the right way with the
Yes.
many genres that he crossed that I mentioned in our short. Like it started as it's a period piece, the 19 early 1900s Jim Crow South,
Right.
uh, with that evolves into a horror supernatural movie.
Which it's crazy, right? Because the last time I watched a movie like this that made me feel like that was Dust Till Dawn.
Wow,
Where it was
what a comparison!
right. So it was like watching a heist movie, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, there's vampires? So when you're watching this movie, honestly, I totally forgot the vampire aspect of this movie until halfway into it when they actually showed up.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were vampires at first until they started biting people. I thought they were going to be straight up demons. I know there was a definitely going to be a scary element to it, but they
Right.
held off to it. There was a nice build up to it.
Yeah, very nice build up. And it sucks because we missed the first like minute. We were walking in and we missed like a whole little
But
thing. But we caught on as everything was going on.
because the opening scene is the preacher's son, as he was known throughout the movie,
Preacher Boy.
Preacher Boy. He walks into his dad's church doing Sunday sermon, all bloody up, broken guitar and everything. I was wondering, and then it goes back to the day before.
Right. So it was like a sort of like a flashback almost. Yeah.
Like a full circle to see us what led us to this point. And man, it was an eventful day and night for the entire crew. Yeah.
Yeah, for the entire crew. So let's start off with the beginning, right?
Yes.
Let's start off with the direction of this. Well, we already kind of sort of did that with the direction of the movie, of how Ryan Coogler started off as a period piece, and then it turns into a full-blown outbreak of vampires. Let's start with the star of the movie, Michael B. Jordan, right?
In a dual role playing
Right.
identical twins. It's just fascinating how he pulled that off. They were very much the same, but still had different elements.
Right. And I like the fact that what they were doing was they like, Smoke was wearing a blue hat, I think, and Stack was wearing a red hat. So it's like, oh, that's how we're going to know who's who and what's what. But I liked how they brought up these little tidbits that you wanted to see throughout and hear. Like they were saying how Smoke and Stack were working for Al Capone up north, right, in Chicago.
Yeah.
And before that, they were in the war. So these little things, like, here's the thing. My only gripe of this, it was that it was a slow burn, because in my head I was like, when are we going to see the vampires, right? Because that was the ultimate thing, like, what's going on here? But when you really sit down and you watch the movie for what it is, and you just get that anticipation, that build up, like, hey, we're
Yeah.
trying to make you love these two characters. We're trying to make you love this whole town so you can fall in love with it until the vampires come in and just destroy everything.
One thing I liked from beginning to the beginning to end on this movie was the emphasis on the music, especially the blues.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big part that started in the Deep South, going back to the time of slavery,
Right.
and the Jim Crow era, and how Preacher Boy just wanted to play, and his dad was against it, and his
Right.
cousins. That's another big point in the movie.
Preacher Boy is
the-
cousins
yeah.
with Smoke and Stack. Yeah.
Like they're giving him an opportunity, but they're clashing heads that you'll see throughout the movie. What did you, maybe jumping ahead a little bit? What did you think of that sequence, like to play a tribute to different eras of music?
Well, that's the thing, though. Remember? Okay,
that's
so
that's when we're getting to the supernatural part of things.
right. So as we're sitting there watching this whole thing, and the dude is just sitting there playing his blues and everything, and then all of a sudden you just see like different eras of music
Yes,
in the
indeed.
same room, just jumping around. Like you had people just on the plain old drums, and then they all of a sudden there's an electric guitar out of nowhere, and we're like,
Wait,
wait, hold up, what's going on over here? Why?
there's no electric guitar in the 1930s.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you see like it went through all these like 50 years of music, right?
Yeah,
And everyone is just dancing to it, and you're like, wow, the way he just moved the timelines of all the music going around back and forth, to me I thought was amazing. And the fact that you kind of realized towards like towards the middle to the end of the movie how the soundtrack changed, where it felt old school but it felt new school too, so it
yeah.
had all these transitions into different eras of music throughout the whole film.
I think the emphasis or the importance of that was symbolism. Like the blues is the basis of all music.
Yes, 100% agreed. You cannot fight that.
Yeah,
I mean, Elvis Presley is the king of rock and roll, right?
yeah.
Rock and roll came from what? The
Blues.
blues. So yeah.
One scene stealers, the lead actress Haley Steinfeld. She
Yep.
absolutely killed it. She has a relationship, like a forbidden relationship with one of the twins with Stax, I believe it was. Like he loves her, but during the time period, it's very looked upon and down a mixed race couple.
Right, but the thing is, though, she's already mixed race. Remember, because
She
like
is.
towards at some point in the movie, she turned around and said, "Well, my father was black or half black or something to that
I think
extent."
maybe it was like a small portion, but
Yeah,
she had these connections. Like she didn't care what their background
and
was.
and that's awesome. That's awesome. It should, but it goes to show you how the racism down south was at that point. Like when um Smokestack both bought the property in order to create a a juke. No,
Yeah,
what do they call
they
it?
call it a juke, but
Yeah, a juke. It was basically like a town hall, so they can all,
a community
drink,
center,
a
a
community
bar.
center,
Yeah,
drink and dance and eat and all that and jazz in between.
like even the twins had emphasis on how to make money. Like the one clerk from towns, like like they were like 50 cent. Prices were different, so at the time
Right,
they're like 50 cents, but I only have 30 cents and these two chips to my store.
right.
And one twin was willing to cut him a break, and the other's like, this ain't no damn house party. We're trying to make money. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing though. That's what they did. They left Capone
they did.
so they could come back down south, so they can fight the evil that they know, which was all the racism that was down there,
Yeah.
as opposed to being up north, fighting racism and fighting other people's wars that were going on in the mob at the time.
Like if this movie turns out to be successful, like it's too early for us to literally look at any box office numbers at the time we're doing this. But I wish there were some flashbacks to them in Chicago. Maybe Ryan and Michael have plans down the line to do a prequel movie, show them in World War I, show them with Capone, why they had to. Did they really leave Chicago on their own terms, or were they running away? I mean, certain things were hinted at.
Right.
Yeah, like it was a good story in itself, leading up to the party before we got to the supernatural. Some people might, I don't, or you don't, but some people might view that that's one hell of a jump, like jumping the shark. That they went from this historical piece, then all of a sudden this random vibe.
Destroyer of words, ladies and gentlemen.
Forgot to mention that at the start. That wait, we went from a period piece, and now these random ass vampires are showing up.
Right, but here's the thing though, and to anybody who says that, I'd fight back and be like, the whole first half of the movie was your backstory, was your introduction to
Yes.
the town, to the people, to the racism, to let you know this is a Jim Crow era, where people
Yeah.
are fighting over nonsense, right? So I liked it that
So-
it sort of did that wave.
So to get to the second half, to get to the supernatural horror part of the movie, how do you think they did that overall? And Jack O'Connell as the cursed vampire, he's biting everyone to kind of build up his army.
I liked it. I liked it. It felt it was nice
Yeah,
because what he did was he kind of just said like, "Hey, we're going to take over, and you don't have to worry about racism anymore because all of us we're all the same, right? You know,
Yeah,
I'm a vampire, you're a vampire. Doesn't matter if you're white and I'm black or vice versa. So it was almost like
but it was
you
a
remember what he said? He said like, you know, I know your memories and you'll know my memories because, you know, you're intertwined, right? So it's
yeah,
like basically being the same person. It was so metaphorical in that sense.
yeah. How about the drunk harmonica player, that great actor that you said you've seen him in so many things?
Oh, Delroy Delindo?
Yeah, no, that's another big element. Like it has that dark comedy moments, and he was the comic relief.
Yeah. Delroy Lindo is probably the most unsung black actor. I have yet to see him in something that was bad. Not only that, but you can tell this person every single time he's on screen, it doesn't matter what kind of
He
art
embraces the
character
role and makes
he
no.
embraced. Like, how old is he now? Like 75 years old,
I don't know if he's
right?
that.
So he's got to be up there. And you know what? He didn't just say, you know what, I'm gonna just phone it in and yeah, don't worry about it. Whatever happens, happens, and I'll still get my paycheck. No, this motherfucker, he fucking he made that movie between the quips that he was saying that were hysterical, or you know when he was trying to make sense of things, or when he was saying that, well, I'm not drunk, I was, but now I'm not, or I shat my pants. Like this guy was amazing.
Or they were doing the garlic test to see if anybody got infected, and he did it, but and they thought, wait, did he get
Yeah,
bitten?
because he kept like
But
making
but
it sound
but
like he was gonna throw
but
up or change.
but he's like, no, I just drank a lot, and mixing alcohol with a piece of garlic's not gonna work.
Right. Yeah, I
But
know.
he was great in his role, and he sacrificed himself, and he cut himself with the knife to like make himself a buffet.
Yeah, and he's just sitting there like he cuts himself and he's just like spraying at all these vampires. Like, come on, guys. So the other ones could run away. He's like, come on, guys, eat me. Like, you felt that there was heart
Yeah,
in the way he was portraying his character.
like I like how they made like how conning the vampires were. Like they had the thoughts and the emotions of the people they infected, like Mary Stack and Cornbread, but they knew something was off.
Cornbread,
Yeah,
Omar Benson Miller, hysterical as always. He's great. The okay, most of you have probably seen this trailer where it's just a short from the movie where he's just trying to get inside so he can eat them, and he's literally just like, "Come on, guys, just let me in." So you know we're all supposed to be happy and help one another and whatnot.
but
And then all of a sudden, when he tries to pull Michael B. Jordan out as he's a vampire and whatnot, it was like the transition. It was so great from being like a comedic moment to all of a sudden, holy shit, he's gonna eat him.
but uh, but he was quick. He was quick witted. He pulled his arm. You know,
Yeah, right.
he's so good with the gun. He was quick witted, and
Blah 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 blah. And then it was
but the supernatural, they wanted Preacher Boy because they thought he was the key. But you know, he was able to fight him off. Uh, you know, they it was all then it was the typical, you know, stab him with the
the steak,
steak,
the
silver bullet,
garlic,
the garlic, the sunlight.
yes, and then the holy water. Oh no, no, that was sorry, that wasn't holy water. That was pickled garlic.
It was holy water.
It was pickled garlic. It took out a horde of vampires with pickled garlic juice. Sorry, pickled garlic juice. That was hysterical.
And-
Well, okay, so what about oh man, what was her name? The one that played Beatrice.
Oh, she was great.
She was awesome.
Are you talking about
Smoke's girlfriend,
Smoke's ex-wife?
or ex-wife, yeah, the one that they had a kid and it
Yeah.
passed, and yeah,
She was great.
she was awesome. Yeah. What else?
Okay, should we talk about that after credit scene? That's really not an after credit scene
Yes. So
that you put emphasis on in the short.
it was like watching The Return of the King, where it was just like ending after ending after ending, right?
Yeah,
The thing is, though, it only happened once or twice, and then all of a sudden, the credits start going, and we see everybody just getting up and walking away. And you know, we're just so used to like sitting down and just letting the credits roll a little bit so we can gather our thoughts before we go outside and record, you know, a short. And then all of a sudden, as we're sitting there watching, all of a sudden the screen changes and there's a whole nother scene coming. And we're like, oh, okay, sucks to be you guys who are walking out of the theater who are going to miss something else.
and we didn't realize that short and cut a deal with Stax because the camera cut away. He let him and Mary got away
Right.
and stayed in their younger version self for 60 years.
Yeah, because it was it was the early '90s at that
It
point.
was
Like,
1992,
yeah.
and we see Preacher Boy, the older version. He went on to have this great blues career, played by the legendary Buddy Guide.
So yeah, and towards the end, I mean, you're gonna have to watch it and see. We don't want to give out too many spoilers, but realistically, you should watch it till the end. You know, there's like 2 or 3 minutes maybe of credits, and then all of a sudden, this whole 10 minutes. We're not talking about 30-second like we used to in a Marvel film or anything like that. We're talking about this is full blown like a 10-minute scene. So this is not a mid-credit scene. This was just like a false, like the movie ended at a false end. But yeah, man.
This is the sleeper hit of the movie, the sleeper of the year. Like, this delivered on so many fronts. I mean, I saw the clips, I saw the buildup. I was interested because of the director and the actor we've
Right.
seen before. But, you know, a little backstory. I saw an interview, I think it was on Good Morning America. Michael B. Jordan said, you know, called up Ryan, you know, collaborated to pitch something else. And before he got to it, he pitched this movie to Michael. He's like, hold on, that sounds really good. And to go back to your point about Scorsese and De Niro, or Scorsese and De Niro, DiCaprio, one thing they have on their side is you, because they're both in their mid to late 30s. So they're going to be making many movies for many years to come.
And you know what? At least us two are here for it.
We are here for it.
Okay, so we're just waiting for the next collaboration.
And who knew Killmonger and Kate Bishop make a great couple?
Yeah, there you go.
There's always going to be that Marvel connection with these actors in these movies. But more on that later in other videos.
Yeah. So look, we loved them. I mean, I loved the movie. Did you like the movie?
I loved it.
You loved it too. So I love the movie, and he loved the movie, and I really do feel like everyone should go out and watch this because this movie was phenomenal. A little bit of a slow burn in the first half hour.
A little all over the place.
A little all over the. No. It feels like it's all over the place, but once you watch the whole movie, you're like, wow, that was awesome. So with that said, let us know in the comment section down below. Are you excited to see this movie? Have you seen it already? What parts did you like? What parts did you not like? Let us know.